All right, we're on part one of Let's Build Something in the Mortgage and Lending Space. So the project we decided to build is a mortgage calculator, as you can kind of see here. Why I decided on this one is I thought it was kind of a funny project. Most people or mortgage agents will typically like to have something like this, especially embedded in their website. And this project used to cost, tens of thousands of dollars to build once upon a time, and now can be done for a $20 subscription and launched same day. So let's get into this. This is not going to build the whole thing. This is just part one. We're going to break this up into a few different parts to keep this relatively simple. But I wanted to show you the end result up front. So you can build something that has, so let's say a mortgage amount, rate, amortization, frequency, and term, and builds a nice little visual over here. One thing to note is this is not actually live. This is not real. This is a render done by Claude that gives us an ability to interact with. And this is something that you can do on a regular basis where you want to kind of take a look at something that you want to build, play around with it. It's not actually accessible by the internet. It's not actually storing any information. Nothing will be saved long term, but you can just play around with it. And this is something that is wonderful about Claude and general AI systems, that you can actually see the end result so fast and interact with it and see if what you want to build is actually correct. Speaking of which, let's jump into this project. And the first thing that we were supposed to be doing, based on our last conversation of how do we build things, is looking at a spec sheet. So let's pull up a spec sheet here. And I am going to pull this over here. And this is the spec sheet that I created with Claude. Now, I didn't type all this in. This was a conversation I had back and forth, which basically said, what do we want to build? And what we want to build is a mortgage payment calculator. The problem it wants to solve is that clients want to kind of visualize and see their payments. The inputs that go in, what comes out, what I'm not building, you can read through this at a different time. I don't want to spend my 5 minutes going through this. But generally, this is what my live spec sheet is going to look like. Again, I didn't type this out. I discussed it with Claude before we started building. And this is kind of just an overview of what we're starting from. And this will evolve over time. So closing that, the next thing that you want to do is, first of all, go register with Claude, go pay for a small subscription that includes Claude Code. I think you can do it for $20 a month, something along those lines. I have a pro account, very different. You don't need to start with that. You're not building at that level yet. The next thing that you're going to do after you've registered with Claude is, if you want to use the web version, you don't have to do this. I recommend the desktop version. I like having Claude readily available here and interacting with it that way. In the early days, you might be able to use the web version and not have to do this. But I'm going to go register with Git. And what I'm going to do is go to git-scm.com, install, and I am on Windows. You can pick your operating system here. Follow the installer. If you're not sure which one to select, talk to Claude about it in order to figure out where to get it on your system. It's typically under your system info. But you might as well use the tool that kind of can tell you all this if you need to. So you're going to run through that install. And I can't remember if this creates your GitHub account or not. If it doesn't, you're going to go to github.com and you're going to register. The reason you're going to do this is, again, this is your recipe book that kind of connects everything that you're doing, and you need a login. So I'm going to create this, and then I'm going to create a new repository. You would have nothing here. I do. I'm going to click new, and I'm going to call this my mortgage calculator. Okay, and I'm going to add a README file in here. If you wouldn't, you might see an error after you do this step because you have no files in there. I already went through that and realized that I never created a file when I was setting this up. So you can turn on the README file. Everything else is easily available. You can make it, I would make it private for now. So no one has to really see this on your end. And I'm going to click create the repository. Okay, it's going to take a second and we're live. We have one file, a README file that just says mortgage calculator, nothing else. If we didn't do this, you might see an error when we're connecting this to the next step. It's not a big deal. You can always fix that after the fact. So the next thing that I'm going to do is jump over to Vercel, and this is the thing that actually puts things out. This is our oven, I believe, in our example from before. And if I refresh this, you will see that this is connected to my an account already, and that is my GitHub account that I've connected this to. And the reason for that is to go to Vercel, you can log in using your GitHub credentials. So I'm logged in. I'm going to click add a new project, and we're going to set that up. And it's going to import my GitHub repositories automatically, and you'll see I just 45 seconds ago created a mortgage calculator, and I'm going to click import. It's going to call my project name mortgage calculator, and I'm just going to deploy this on my existing account, and we're going to click the deploy button. May pop up with an error, but I think this one should be good. I already had gone through this and it popped up with an error that it didn't have a file, and that occurred specifically because I had not created a README file. So there we go. Part 1 is done. It was 5 minutes, 2.5 minutes I spent talking about the overview, but probably about 2 minutes worth in actually just setting this up. We have something live that is serving the internet. Whether or not it actually does anything is a different story. I'm going to go back to my dashboard, and this is my domain. Vercel will set you up with an automatic domain that you can reach. I click into here, and it says 404 not found. Don't worry, this isn't an error. I'm not actually pushing anything right now. This is just an empty project with nothing in it. So part 2, we'll walk through how do we actually turn this into something live that actually can show. So done for now.